Is this the top for Tesla stock? Are we going to see a crash here? We just saw a big drop in the stock price, so what is going on? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in this video. And of course, this is important because a lot of us are invested in Tesla, myself included. And we've all made a lot of money on it, so we want that to keep going. And more than that, we don't want to lose it if Tesla does crash. And also, Tesla is really the leader in this stock market. Where it goes, the rest of the market will follow. So it's very important to track, but I'll explain a little bit more about that later. So let's get into where Tesla stock will go from here. Now, you already know from the March lows of 2020, Tesla went up like 1,200%, just an insane amount. It's absolutely crushed records that we've seen before, like in the 99 bubble. So you can compare it if we're taking a look at real companies, because there are some real companies that back in 99 went ballistic, but still survived through because again, they have a real product. So those are companies like Cisco, Microsoft, Amazon. Microsoft nearly doubled in the 12 months leading up to its peak in December 1999, and the other two tripled in the last year before their peaks. But no stock even compares to Tesla, which is up more than 800% over the last 12 months. And they're not counting from the March low, which is why it's less. But you can see right here, this is Tesla, the white line, compared to all those other examples back in the 90s, in the previous bubble. No comparison, smashing records. And now Elon is the richest person in the world. And let me say this right now, I think he absolutely deserves it. I'm a huge Tesla fan, a huge Elon fan. And I think he's incredible, and I was always confused why people put Steve Jobs all the way up here. Steve Jobs is great, but Elon, way better. And I think that's finally happening. It's changing. So as far as my emotions and my opinions, big Tesla bull. But that doesn't necessarily mean anything for the stock price. My opinion is separate from it, which is why we got to analyze what's actually going to happen in the market. And to understand where Tesla's price is going to go from here and whether it's going to crash or not, you got to understand how speculative this market is. We are in a market frenzy right now. And you don't need any more examples other than what just happened with one of Elon's tweets. So if you guys remember this, he just tweeted, "Use Signal." And this is a messaging app. And he's saying use Signal because it's one of the few messaging apps that isn't collecting all your data. A lot of us use WhatsApp, especially us Indian people. And now that it's integrated with Facebook, they are collecting everything. They know when you brush your teeth in the morning. So Signal is the alternative. So Elon says use Signal, right? So of course, a ton of people go to their website and they start downloading the app. But what also happens is this stock, Signal Advance, which is just a penny stock, this thing shoots up like crazy. It went up something like 6,000% in a few days. Why? Because it's called Signal. And Elon said, use Signal. But Signal Advance is not the same Signal that he's even talking about. This is a completely random penny stock. In fact, the Signal app, the messenger, had to put a tweet out saying, hey, guys, this is not the same Signal. It's understandable that people want to invest in our record growth, but this isn't us. But this is how stupid the market frenzy is. People are just wild right now where they won't even check if the company they're investing in is the actual company that they want to invest in. And you can see now, as I'm recording this video, this random penny stock Signal is crashing 60% down. I quoted a recent MacroOps research piece here where my partner Alex, he was saying jokingly, fundamentals are dated. They're so 2020. What matters now is a vision, something cool and hip, preferably to do with electricity. If it's brought to market through a SPAC, even better. Does Cathie Wood's ARK Invest own it? If so, then my due diligence is done. And he's just making fun of how crazy everyone is right now. So Tesla, even though, again, I think it's a great company, I think it's the company of the future, it is caught up in this speculation. And what do you know about markets? What goes up really fast crashes down even harder. So regardless of what you think of Tesla's fundamentals and long-term potential, it is caught in this speculative trap, which is a great thing on the way up, but a bad thing on the way down. And I'll explain a little bit more what I mean in a second here. But before I do, we also got to mention the true believers in Tesla, the holders forever, no matter what happens. Like this guy right here, and I just mentioned him in a previous video. He said he's retiring from the corporate world at the age of 39 because he's been an all-in Tesla investor since 2013. And look at his account. It's amazing, right? Made so much off Tesla, he's retiring. But what happens when Tesla falls almost 8% in a day? Well, that's his gain and loss per day. Look at that. He lost $1 million in a day. But these guys, they don't care because they are just long-term believers. And on this tweet right here, the reason I saw it is because a few of my buddies from the MacroOps community, they were telling this guy to take some profits. But at the same time, why would he take profits? Sure, that's good risk management principles and is absolutely what you should do. But he didn't get $11 million or whatever taking profits. See, this guy chimed in. I don't know if you saw his video, this Brandon Smith. I think it was Bloomberg or Business Week. Someone did this video on him, how he was all-in investor in Tesla with like $10,000, his whole life savings. And now he's a millionaire, just this random gamer guy. So he commented, he's like, 2017, you're delusional, sell. 2018, 19, 20, same thing, sell. 2021, you're delusional, sell. But also you're a lucky fanatical lottery winner. So he's just proving the point in these guys' heads why sell. Again, they made all their money holding and believing. So why would anything change? And this is an important group along with those speculators that we just talked about to understand what could happen with Tesla's price. So at this point, Tesla is well on its way to $1 trillion market cap, right? And then from 1 trillion, it could go to 2 trillion real easily. Why? Because with these huge numbers, what type of analysis can you even pin it to? It's just pure belief and sentiment and speculation. People are crazy about Tesla, regardless of if it makes sense. If that price equates to what Tesla is actually doing as a company, doesn't matter. It could be 1 trillion, 2 trillion, 3 trillion, who cares? But in the same sense that it can be $3 trillion, it could also be 1 trillion. Do you see what I'm saying here? It can be much higher, but it can be much lower too. And no one can say anything otherwise because the financials stay the same. It's just our speculation pushing it up or down. And that's where the real danger comes. This speculation, great on the way up, as I said, terrible on the way down. So tell me, what happened here back in March when Tesla collapsed, 50, almost 60%? Obviously, the speculators that we're talking about, they go out and buy Signal, they were selling. But the long-term holders, like our friend Jason right here, he didn't sell. And you might look at that and say, okay, yeah, it collapsed, but it came right back. And that's exactly what everyone is expecting every time Tesla does crash. But here's the thing, what if it doesn't rebound immediately? And what if the collapse is much, much bigger? Let me show you an example of another company that got caught in the tech boom in the 90s, which was an amazing company, and it had incredible potential, and it's a giant now, but it still got caught in that crash. And the company I'm talking about is, of course, Amazon.com, which is an absolute Goliath today. But even so, look what happened back here. From highs to lows, this thing crashed over 95%. And again, this is an incredible company, right? You could have been an Amazon true believer back then. But now tell me, are any speculators going to hold through this? Is Jason here going to hold through that? A 95% decline. And think about it, he retired. And these savings that he's supposed to live off for the rest of his life get decimated. What is he going to do? You think he's going to hold? Maybe, but probably not, which is the same reason why so many people lost so much money in this 2000 bubble. It's not a game. It's not like this time is different. People don't change. Everyone thinks, yeah, I'm going to hold through anything. But when it comes down to it and something crashes 95%, no one's holding. That's why so many people lost. That's why we talk about these crashes and bubbles. Even though it feels like when we get this rebound back in March, oh no, we'll never have a crash again. But that's just not true. Even with this crash, we did not have this frenzy that we're having now. So the thing you got to know about markets is that when people are super bullish and going on leverage and buying everything like they are now, that's when you get a real crash. You need that euphoria. You need people super bullish for it to happen. That's finally starting to start up now. But okay, let's go back to our main question for this video. Do we think Tesla is beginning to crash now? My answer is no. I don't think a crash is starting. I think Tesla still has room to run. Now I'll tell you what, speculation and our speculative markets, they did take a hit because not only did this drop happen in Tesla, but you see we're getting a nice big drop in Bitcoin too. Bitcoin collapsed as much as 40% at one point, and it might keep going. Now, I'm not talking about Bitcoin in the sense that it affects Tesla and our stock market directly. What I'm doing here is looking at Bitcoin as a signal for risk appetite, because a lot of speculators, they love hodl. They love getting into cryptocurrency and holding it. And Bitcoin, you've been hearing more about it because it's absolutely taken off. But when it's facing a correction, that's when you got to look at the market too and say, hey, is this same correction going to follow us here? But I'll tell you what, even with Bitcoin, I don't think this is the top. And there's a lot of reasons for this, and I explain them in our videos every week. But our general market, this whole party, this frenzy, that all this buying, it's just starting. Biden's coming in. He wants to send out more checks, give people more money. The Fed won't stop printing. Lots of liquidity, lots of money slushing around, and it's all going to go into the stock market. So I would say no, Tesla isn't done yet. But looking to the future, how do we know when Tesla is done? Because I said it's not only important for our investment in Tesla, but also for the rest of the market. If Tesla turns around because it's the top speculative stock, the rest of the market, you could expect it to turn around as well. So how do you track Tesla then? Do you just keep reading Twitter and trying to see how many Tesla tweets there are because you're trying to track the sentiment? No, that's pretty tough. The way we do it at Fallible is with our investment system. It's a quant momentum system that tracks the momentum of every stock in the NASDAQ, and that includes Tesla. So you can see it right here. It uses this TSI scanner, and it ranks every stock in the NASDAQ by their momentum because the TSI determines how much momentum something has. You could see right here, Tesla is number one. So it still has super strong momentum, meaning there's a high probability of it continuing to move higher. And what we do is every month we rotate into the top 5 stocks that have the highest momentum in the NASDAQ. So you can see we're in Tesla right now, and we've been in Tesla for a long time because it's been holding this number one spot for almost a year now, probably. And it's probably going to keep going too. Now, instead of trying to just sit in Reddit forums trying to figure out if people are bullish or bearish on Tesla, the time when we know it will start turning around is when this number starts to come down. And when all of a sudden we don't see Tesla in the top 5 or the top 10 or the top 20 highest momentum stocks. We know things are changing. And even before that happens, we have risk control in place. So if Tesla falls a certain amount, we're going to sell it and get out. And we do the same thing when Tesla has been climbing this entire time. We've been taking profits. So we manage risk on the upside and the downside. And that's the most important thing you can do in a frenzied market like this. Unless you're okay with losing 95% of something, like we saw with Amazon, which isn't out of the question for Tesla. You want your upside, but you still want to manage your downside. Risk management, the most important thing. And I can show you how we did it back in March, because you remember this was a massive Tesla run already going into the highs of March. And what we did, we were invested back here. We were taking profits the whole way up. So by the time we hit this peak and Tesla did turn around in March, we sold most of our position and we collected the profits. And then as it started collapsing and it hit our risk point, we sold the rest too. So we did not hold through this 60% drawdown that happened. And then because Tesla was still strong after that, we got back in. And then we've been riding it ever since, making a ton of money on it. And again, this wasn't just based off our opinion on the stock, it was based off actual numbers, quant numbers, what our momentum indicators were telling us. It's all laid out, there's no discretion in it. And for me, that's the best way to do it. Your risk management is all in place, it's tight, it works. And I know people who hold Tesla long term, they think that's so stupid. They're gonna say you should buy all the way down, but I just don't agree with that. Because what you need is an investment strategy or system that you can repeat on every type of stock. Because here's the thing, okay, for Tesla, long-term holding has worked so far. And I think in the future, those people will get crushed, but for right now, it's worked, right? But what about for the next Tesla? What happens when you think you found that next Tesla, but it turns out not to be Tesla? And when it crashes, it doesn't come back up. Well, guess what? A lot more people are gonna lose all their money picking something that they think is the next Tesla versus the amount of people who actually pick a Tesla and hold through. So that's what we're managing for when we're managing our risk on the downside and the upside. Because I don't know, maybe I'm dumb, but I don't believe in my ability to pick a Tesla every time. And I don't know where everyone else gets their confidence from, or at least the Tesla long-term holders, but that's definitely not the way to operate in the stock market with that cult hold no matter what happens mentality. Risk management with taking profits and cutting your losses, that's the way you survive in the market year after year, even as Teslas come and go. That's how you consistently make money and build your wealth. So no, I don't think a Tesla crash is coming, but hey, I could be very wrong. And I'm gonna be glad my risk management is in place. And speaking of crashing stocks, there's another really big stock that most of us hold that is about to get hurt bad because there are some big changes in the industry and how the government views that industry. If you want to see what I'm talking about, make sure you click this video right here. Again, very important because most of us are holding this stock and it's about to get crushed. So click this video to find out more and I will see you there.